I want to thank you for saving yourself first. I've seen you at your worst. I want to thank you for getting black and blue, for all the things you do. Oh, yeah.
Broad topics, broad minds, broad hosts, but not just for broads. This is Broadscast with Kim Goldman and Jackie McDougall.
Hey, there we are.
Hi. What's happening?
Couldn't even hear us. So we had some issues going on this morning. So
I have issues going on every morning, not just unique to this morning. But hey, could we just talk about that song for a second?
Yes. So that song is an original written by Jeff McDougall, although some may know him as my husband.
Yeah, I honestly, I wasn't expecting there to be like a voice. I thought it was an instrumental. And what a lovely voice your husband has.
Have you ever heard that song? Because were we friends back then?
No. So you want to tell the song?
Yeah. So, as Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as we talked about, and some of us wonder if Breast Cancer Awareness Month is actually a good thing. You can go listen to a past episode to hear all about that. But in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Jeff wrote and recorded this song a few years back to as like a little in honor of me and my little battle with surgeries and things like that.
My little battle.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and it's funny because I haven't heard it in years, and it made me very emotional. So it's an emotional day.
You and I have been very crybabies this morning already. It just started between the rain here, and I mean it's like torrential downpour here. I mean it's really not, but here in sunny California. But we just have had a very emotional morning this morning. So. We're very lucky to have Jeff, who gives us all of our music. So thank you.
He does our theme as well.
Composer Jeff McDougall.
Yeah, he does our little broadcast theme. So
Broadscast.
Shout out to Jeff. So talk about emotional. Well, first of all, talk about the weather. Like I was trying to figure out the last time it actually rained, like real raindrops in Southern California where we live. I don't even know.
It rained recently. Didn't it?
Not like rain, like it sprinkled recently.
You know, here's the good news. I don't really pay that much attention when it rains because it's just weather. But like, I guess we have to have like a whole
it's
theme
storm
music.
Watch.
It's storm watch.
Yeah,
so I have
it's
no
craziness.
Idea. But it woke me up this morning. I will tell you, the rain.
Really?
Oh yeah. But
You're
I was thinking when I came in to the studio that you would think that we have clogged drains everywhere because there are floods all over the place, and like I had to actually drive extra slow because my car was like hydroplaning.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't understand why we don't have good drainage system. It's not like we're backed up in our aqueducts and stuff that we can't allow for more water in there.
Right.
Like why? Where's?
I have no idea. I feel like Los Angeles is like somebody was like, "Hey, let's just put this here." Like there wasn't a lot of thought. But what do I know?
I don't know. Not a lot of.
What do I know? So you have a big weekend coming up.
I do. My 13-year-old child, Gag, is Gag. He's becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow.
Is that So explain to us who are not of the Jewish.
Geez.
No, but becoming a bar mitzvah. I thought the event was called the bar mitzvah.
It is, but you become a bar mitzvah. It's kind of like a verb.
What does it mean?
So. It is essentially the way that the Jews explain it is that you basically have become a man and you're essentially can take care of yourself. Where I take issue with that, obviously, because they're 13, but it is sort of the right. It's a rite of passage.
Right.
It's coming of age, much like the quinceañera or communion in church. It's just really like. You've become a young man. You now are recognized in the temple as such. You read from the Torah. So Sam was assigned a portion of the Torah that he needed to read and then translate and put it into his own words. And so,
so he reads it in Hebrew.
And
then translates.
No, he just translates the meaning, I guess, is what I'm saying. And so, like for his speech tomorrow, he's going to explain how he interpreted. And how that particular Torah portion applies to his life, and so that's.
Have you already heard it?
His speech?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you going to be like weepy weepersons?
I am going to be weepy weepersons. We've been writing it, and then we've been writing it together, and and then he wrote a particular section of it for me that I didn't want to hear until we got up on it's called the Bima, until we got up on the Bima.
So you go up there too?
I go up for portions of it because I do a prayer.
I've been to one bar mitzvah. Or actually, it was a bat mitzvah. It was a girl.
Yeah, it was bat mitzvah. So yeah, I go up just to say a little prayer over the part that he say a little prayer for me. I can't do it. I say a little prayer over the portion of the Torah that he's going to read, and then he reads it. And so yes, it's
what an amazing event.
It's been. I've talked about this on the show before, that there have only been a couple of moments in my adulthood that I've actually felt like an adult, which one was when I got divorced. Not when I got married, bought a house, or when I had a baby, but when I got divorced, I suddenly felt like an adult.
You're grown up.
And then this past week, I feel like I've had a rite of passage, too, into my adulthood, because I have a child that is being bar mitzvahed, and I've been paying out the nose for it, so that makes me feel very adult. But it's been cool. This has been a long time coming. We've been working on this for almost 2 years, so a year and a half. So it's all culminating tomorrow. Actually, starting tonight, but yeah.
Starting tonight?
We have temple tonight. We have services, and Sam is up on the.
Oh, he makes an appearance.
He does. He makes.
Kind
we
of
all
like
do. We do. The women do the candle lighting service tonight for Shabbat, and then my son does a little something with the rabbi, and then we have to stay, which will probably be the longest amount of time that we've stayed in temple. Will be tonight and tomorrow. I've got to get all my Hebrew in for the year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we are going to come back. We're actually having a little technical issue, so we're going to play a little bit more of the song, and we're going to come back in just a second for the rest of the show. And we have a great show coming up for you today. Kristin Cruz, you may know her from, remember KOST in Los Angeles?
We have to talk like this now.
I know. I think that we are. We're going to be like, hello, Kristin. But she's going to be with us in a little bit, and we have more topics to talk about, so just stay with us. We'll be right back.
I want to thank you for not letting go of this, not getting yourself missed. I want to thank you for not leaving us alone and emptying our home of love, 'cause that's who you are. A wife and a mom. You get.
Check out the Broads on Instagram at Broadscast.
Hey, we're back. We're back.
Oh, that song is so sweet.
All right, so this is what happens when you go live, you guys. You know, sometimes you try to. Well, I'm just trying to figure out a little technical issue, but we're just gonna have to move forward. So Halloween.
What?
You have bar mitzvah.
Oh my gosh, I haven't even thought. I'm dressing up as a good Jew is what I'm doing for Halloween this year.
Yeah, you've never been able to dress up as that before.
That's what I'm doing.
So are you? What are you doing for Halloween? What does one do for Halloween when
I
you
don't
have
even know when
you have a
is.
man
What
in the
date?
house?
I have
It's Monday.
no idea.
It's Monday. Yeah.
I don't even know. I really have been. I mean. We talk about a lot. It's a running theme in our shows is how we do this work-life balance. I've been out of my mind in the last couple of months with work-life balance.
Yeah.
So I honestly, so you're telling me Halloween is Monday. So sweet. I got nothing.
Well, what do you need to prep for Halloween? Like what?
Well, not so much me because I don't do anything, but I don't think my son knows what he's going to do. I told him he could go as a Packer fan. Because I have the jersey
you have the cheese head.
So
if you want to know why Kim has a cheese head, you'll have to listen to the last episode.
What are
we
you
talked
doing?
all about it.
Your kids always want to do cool things.
Yeah, well, I just went last night to Party City. They are not a sponsor, but they are appreciated. Thank you, Party City. Although they have a lot of stuff that's out. Yeah, so it was like there were 5,000 Captain America costumes. So we're like, we like number 137 out.
Yeah.
We like number 2361. We have it in a size 4 to 6. You know, it was just so my kid isn't necessarily going to be the Captain America he chose, but he's going to be Captain America and he needs to deal with it.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, no, because he wants to be Captain America.
Yeah,
but I don't know. There are different versions, and I'm that's way past me. Like I can't deal with that right now.
That my son wanted to be Spider-Man a handful. Oh, we talked about this.
Yeah,
and it was the wrong version of Spider-Man.
Yes, my kid got the hand-me-down. So my daughter's going to be a vampire.
Oh,
thankfully she already has a tuxedo.
And she has that cool faux hawk thing that she could, like, she has
does.
cool hair.
I got her fangs and some makeup and a cape.
Nice.
And so she's good to go.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And then my oldest is a ninja.
Oh, cool.
Which is like similar to a costume that he wore a few years ago. And I was like, why can't? And then I realized, like, because it was a few years ago. They grow daily.
I know.
So
cool.
Yeah.
And what are you dressing up as?
A frazzled, exhausted mom who needs an eyebrow wax. Look, I'm wearing my costume today.
Yeah.
So this is why we do radio, because I did shower this morning, but there was no doing of the hair.
I'm finally
wearing
going
my
to
Patriots
get you
hat.
to agree not to do video. This has been my whole plot this entire time. Jackie really wants us to go on YouTube and do. I'm like, please don't, because again, I've showed up today without brushing my hair or putting makeup on. I think I brushed my teeth, so I can't do the whole video thing.
Yeah. Well, we could do video at times because people like to connect with others via video.
Vis-a-vis video.
Yeah. So what do you actually do on? We've talked about this. Like I used to have this this thing of like, if your voice is starting to change, you should no longer be trick or treating. I remember 12, 13 was like the cutoff age when we were growing up, and now I'm like, please trick or treat if you're not causing trouble until you're 30.
Yeah,
like be a child.
I don't care. You know what? I think it's fun, and I think as adults, we put so many restrictions on what we should be doing, and
right?
This is the time to just go have fun, and like just go be a kid again, and reconnect with your kids, and don't just send them out on their own, or unless they want to and they're old enough to. But I don't know. I love going out with my son and having him be so excited that even at 13 that he got the king size candy bar versus the 12 boxes of raisins that ended up in his bag,
right.
I love experiencing that with him, and I get my little red cup, and I trail behind, and
so does he go with friends? So you just kind of team up with the friends' moms?
We've historically gone with Denise and her kids. We just pick a neighborhood. We try to go to more expensive
Denise
neighborhoods because they give
Kim's bestie.
Yeah. But our kids are the same age, and so we've always just gone with them. So we find neighborhoods that we think are going to give the best candy.
Right.
But last year we were in our community, yours and mine, and it was real super fun. Like these streets and these houses all get together and do these amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I've never seen that before. We're in a new house since January, so we've never trick or treated in this neighborhood. And there are houses up the street. Like one looks like a big ship. Another one looks like a train with like a big. They literally like reface the,
so maybe we'll
front of their
your
house.
Neighborhood this year.
Yes, I'm saying you should, because I have plenty of red cups as well. All the red cups you can hold.
Yeah, my neighborhood is horrible for trick or treating because it is steep hills. And I feel terrible because, like, my whole little street, I live in a cul-de-sac, all the lights are off because no one trick-or-treats in our neighborhood. So I just feel bad because it's too much of a workout.
Yeah. But I always turn my light off, and, I think people feel pressured, like they have to stay home and give out candy, and then someone has to stay home, and then the rest go trick-or-treating.
But if you're in a neighborhood that, like, you live in a neighborhood that is very kid-friendly, and you're also at an end of the street too, so I don't know how much.
I'm turning out all the lights because I'm not going to miss out. In the past, and I have put out like a little bowl of candy, and I don't really care if it's 100 kids get it or one dumps it in his bag, because that'll come back to haunt him. Yeah. Either now or later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't want to miss out. Like, there's still.
So how many should we predict? How many clown sightings?
Oh my gosh. I think we should all be clowns.
Oh,
how hilarious.
Confuse the clowns that were like,
right. Stop.
You
like
were part of our meeting.
If you can't beat them.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering how many people are going to do some sort of spin-off on Trump and
oh my gosh,
Clinton.
You just reminded me of something. Yeah, I think you're going to see more Trumps and Clintons.
Yeah,
like
I think it's
everywhere.
Going to be weird.
So I walk into Party City yesterday.
Yeah.
I love that I have, in the past I would have had to blog and like upload images and all that stuff. So the fact that I can just like go, hey, I forgot, I want to tell you a story. Right. It's awesome. So I walk into Party City, and right in front of me are three masks: Trump, Clinton, Obama. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I look at the Trump one and it says like, I don't know exact, but it said presidential mask.
Okay.
Right. It didn't have his name on it because I think legally they can't necessarily put names, or whatever. I don't know. Like it's his, whatever.
You heard it here first. We have no idea what we're talking about. Yeah.
No, they heard it there many, many times. So, I walk in and there's this Trump mask and it says something presidential. And I look next to it and it has Hillary and it says something presidential. And then I look at the Obama one and it says adult. It says nothing about presidential anything. Like no information, nothing on the label that would like connect him to being the 44th president of the United States.
Huh.
Currently finishing out his second term. Weird. I found that kind of offensive. A couple of things. I found it like disrespectful, first of all.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you have presidential? And then, I have to automatically say, like, I feel like they're racist.
Who's racist?
The people who make the masks. Because I know Kim's going to roll her eyes. And that's why I have to bring it up. Because I think if that were anybody else that would say presidential, I just think mask makers are racist. I'm saying it here first. So.
Really?
Yes. Oh Why wouldn't you have presidential on his mask?
Well, I don't know the reason, but it's amazing. The first thing you go to is that you think they're racist. Like I would just think they're stupid.
Well, they're that too, but
I mean, maybe the sign fell off? Maybe there were
no. This is like there's no sign. Like it was the packaging itself.
Oh, the packaging. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I will say that I wasn't the only one because the young woman who was working at Party City said, like, did you see that? Like, she actually noticed it too, and I was like, oh, that's so disrespectful. Like, at least
it's disrespectful, but I don't think it's racist. We could go back and look and see if they had presidential on past masks because it's not the first time his mask has been a Halloween costume or
right. I don't know
for sale.
Anyway,
we'll have to look. I'm gonna debunk
shame on you, mask makers. Shame on you.
Yeah, I think we're going to see some very creative blending of the Clinton-Trump.
You think so?
I do.
I wanted my kids to go as
appropriate, and I think it's going to be a little risque. And did you just give me a kiss?
My husband was in the studio and just kissed me goodbye. Sorry, people.
Waka waka. You guys
play a different kind of music.
Yeah. I don't know. We talked, ad nauseum on air and off here about like how everything has to be the sexy costume and.
Oh my God!
So
yeah, we had a whole thing on your Facebook.
Yeah,
and
on my Facebook,
wasn't it on your Facebook? Or yeah, it was like so they had like a sexy undecided voter.
Oh, right.
It's like they have like a sexy piece of pizza or sexy,
right. Yeah. Yeah. So. I don't know. I am not a dresser upper. I never have been. Does not work for me. But I love seeing the creativity that people come up with, and that's part of why I love kind of going out and being a part of all the chaos because I like to see the things that people do to like unleash that hidden side of them.
Right. Right.
I'm not into all the gory stuff though, so I don't love seeing all like the fake blood. I don't like that.
No,
it's not my thing.
It's funny. It's not my thing either. I like comedy, but I've always been that way. So anyway.
Yeah.
So again, we told you later on in the show, we'll have Kristin Cruz here chatting about all things, mom and work-life balance. And, she's got some really cool things happening. But give me a second. We'll be right back.
Connect with the Broads on Facebook at facebook.com/broadscast.
Welcome back, Kim Goldman.
Hey, I'm so glad I could stay for that.
That was the fastest break in the history of breaks.
So we are on countdown.
We are?
Not just for Kristin, but for the end of this long, what seems like a 12-year election campaign.
It's at the point where I just think it's not going to end. Like something will happen and it won't end because it just seems unrealistic that it could actually end.
I every time they say in 12 more days and 11 more days, I'm like, wait, we're finally under 2 weeks. I can't believe it. So, which almost is worse because now we're just going to be inundated for the next even more than we were.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But now, as a Californian, it's time to start paying attention to our local local campaigns, and we have a lot of people running for different positions here in California. But also there's like, I don't even know how many, 20 propositions and that are up on the ballot this year. So people, I
those
really
propositions are so confusing because nobody, I mean, it's kind of like the news these days. Like nobody has the bipartisan, like middle ground. Just tell me what it is.
Well, and it's also because I actually do take time to read that 500-page book that came to us.
Oh, good. Give us a summary.
No, because I don't get myself in trouble, but there are a couple of really good websites, and actually we can list them on broadscast.com. We can give some links to some really good websites that help you kind of decipher between all of the minutia that proposition writers try to confuse you with, so that you don't know which way to vote. Because sometimes voting yes means you're actually against it, and voting no means you're for it. And so I really have to be, and I have to keep a cheat sheet. And so on the Sacramento Bee, it's a Sacramento paper. It gives you all of the propositions and all the people that are running in your region, and you can basically create like a ballot for yourself, and then you can read up on what you want to read up on and vote, and then print it out so that when you
you bring that with you?
Yeah, you can bring notes.
That's
and stuff,
allowed.
so that when you just can't take pictures. With
we're talking to you, Justin Timberlake.
But you can bring notes, but it's a really good way to read the pros and cons and who's supporting and who's against it. Ballotpedia, like a Wikipedia, but it's for propositions and stuff. I give a really good description, but it's really confusing.
Look at you.
But this is where I feel like my voice matters. I mean, I honestly don't believe that my voice makes that much of a difference in a presidential campaign. But when it comes to local politics and I mean local in my state,
right?
And with propositions for sure. Like no on 57. There's no if, ands, or but on Proposition 57.
Tell me more.
Proposition 57, Jerry Brown is actually pushing for this. It reduces particular crimes to being nonviolent, which then means those people that are incarcerated right now or being found guilty of those crimes have a very small jail sentence or can be released early on parole. Those nonviolent offenses include domestic violence, bringing weapons onto school campuses, rape.
Wait, how are those nonviolent?
It's disgusting. I don't know.
How can they legally call it nonviolent and have those things under the umbrella?
It's in comparison to murder, basically. I mean, they're really. I mean, and that's.
Then they should call it non-murder.
Well, so this is why I'm saying I hope that people go and read, because when you see the list, I was going to try to pull it up quickly. When you see the list of offenses that are considered nonviolent, you really do scratch your head, because domestic violence, raping an intoxicated person, the weapons. There's a couple other things. I think there's 12 offenses that are considered nonviolent, and it's horrible. I mean, it really. And so if people don't understand anything about that law, please go and read up on it. That's the only one that I'm going to advocate fiercely for. It's assault with a deadly weapon, rape of an unconscious person, a lewd act on a 14-year-old, domestic violence.
Or under 14, right?
Yeah.
14 or under.
Yeah, they're all technically nonviolent.
So
and
wait,
eligible
so
for early
you can
release.
molest a child under the age of 14, so at any age, and that is considered a nonviolent crime,
offense.
And so those people would be let out early.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or not given a stiff sentence to begin with. So they're all technically nonviolent and eligible for early release. So people that are incarcerated right now would be eligible for an early release. And part of that whole concept is so that we can open up our jails for more serious offenders. But you're putting violent. I mean, I'm sorry. I think assault with a deadly weapon is a violent act, and so you're putting those people back on the street. And we're not equipped in our state to handle early release and the burden that it puts on our parole officers and our communities. And the proposition is written as a under the guise of public safety, which is so hypocritical. But there's a couple of propositions on there about medical marijuana use, about our death penalty here in California.
Right. Wait, so let's stop for a second. So go to the marijuana one. It's not medical though, right? Isn't it like, some are trying to make marijuana just legal?
Oh, is that just what I haven't?
Yeah, because I mean, medical marijuana is legal. So I think
I don't know.
They're trying to make marijuana, and in general.
Oh, we're trying to be like Colorado.
Correct.
Okay.
What do you think of that?
I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I in some ways, I would like there to be some stricter regulations on pot because that is such a widely used drug. And so if it was regulated in some way, I think it could restrict the amount of extra things that get added to marijuana.
Right.
All the other hallucinogens and additives that make it more potent, which is essentially what happens, when people have access and being able to grow and build and manufacture whatever they want.
Right.
That's where I get a little, marijuana is supposed to be like earth grown, they're supposed to not that I'm not diminishing it, but what people do is they add all of the extra narcotics to it, which is when
right.
I see kids using marijuana today, it's all the extra things that get added to it that get me nervous.
Do you think by making it legal that those things wouldn't be added to it?
Well, it would be it would be regulated. Isn't that the whole issue around around marijuana being legalized?
Yeah, it's funny because so many people compare it with, say, alcohol. I think it's easier to smoke and get behind the wheel of a car than it would be to drink. As far as if you get pulled over, is there any way for them to test how much marijuana you have in your system, as easily as they do with alcohol?
No.
And there are kids who are, I'm open-minded to, and I have to read up a lot more, but I understand that some people just do it. I would have a glass of wine at the end of the day. They may have a little bit of pot. Okay. But now we're talking about do you have to be 21, or 18? Which one? I don't know. And then how do you keep it out of the hands of younger kids? Is it going to be any different? Because right now you're not keeping it out of their hands. Is it a positive thing because it's more regulated? That's great.
Right.
But then I was reading an article which, and everybody, again, all media, it seems they come to us with already an agenda. So, but I was reading about how since they made it legal it's Oregon, right? Isn't it?
Colorado. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that the number of accidents with younger teenagers and because of marijuana has shot up. But again, I don't know that that's
I honestly, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I've not gotten to that place in my book yet to read about it. I really do spend a lot of time researching and reading. It's just
we need to make a Kim Goldman cheat sheet and put it on our website. Well,
but I also come from
a certain you have your own biases and.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, and I don't know if you're comfortable talking about it, but you mentioned capital punishment, and
there are two propositions, 62 and 66, propositions that have to do with the death penalty, and I support the death penalty. I support the death penalty if it is used correctly. And what I mean by that is not having people sit on death row for 30 years. I think that is not the proper use of death penalty. I'm in favor of Proposition 66 because it reduces the amount of time that a person sits on death row, and it limits the number of appeals, which I think is necessary. It limits, because when you're on death row, you have unlimited appeals. You could just appeal, and that's what lengthens the time that someone sits on death row. Putting someone and paying for someone on death row actually costs more money. Health benefit. You have to pay for health insurance for those inmates, and they're basically there for a life sentence until they die, or they, on their own of natural causes, or they finally are sentenced to death like they should have been.
Right.
So Proposition 66 tightens up some of the loopholes. It puts a little bit stricter restrictions on how long someone sits on death row. I know there are lots of people that are against it because there have been a small amount of people in the past that their convictions have been overturned because of DNA, but those aren't so much recent as they were cases that were 30 years old or something.
Right.
When DNA wasn't right. But I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that there haven't been, innocent people or not guilty people. that have been sentenced to jail, but I don't know that the predominant number of people that are sitting on death row shouldn't actually be there. Mm-hmm. So it also increases the amount of restitution that gets paid to victims. So,
but there are two. One of them is yay or nay on the death penalty, and then the other one is
so I'm no on 62, yes on 66. So no on 62, yes on 66, and
because I mean,
one of them repeals the death penalty.
Right.
And one of them tightens up and just makes it a more just, in my opinion, again,
yes.
because I'm for it, it makes it a more just process.
And, you know, one of the things I like about this show is that, you know, you and I come together to talk about certain topics, and we don't always have to agree, because I'm completely 100% against it. Like, I think the system's broken. I think it doesn't work. I think, you know, all of that stuff, but I think that it costs more money for them to try to make. I just don't believe it.
Well, that's
I just
what I'm
don't
saying.
believe
so
in.
If you're going to if you're going to sentence someone to death but never put them to death, then just sentence them to a life in prison.
Right.
Then take them off of death row, because you have to keep them in a separate section of the jail, and it just costs more money to put someone on.
I think
row.
we agree that it's not working, but
Right.
I think we feel differently.
You don't want to kill someone. I'm okay with doing it.
That's pretty much that. All right, so we're moving on. We're moving on to lighter topics here. So we have Kristin on the line with us today. Kristin is, you may know her from KOST 103.5. Kristin, we decided that we're going to introduce you like this today.
Wait, what's the old music for? I don't even remember. How does this? Wasn't there a song?
You guys don't remember Love Songs on the Coast?
Love songs on the coast.
That's right.
We do.
It's funny when you don't realize you remember something. Like, this happens to me all the time with
Yeah.
old songs, and all of a sudden you're just singing along. So anyway, Kristin Cruz, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks for joining us. So, you know, I moved to what years were you on KOST?
Yeah, it's I was about over 6 years. Let's see. I started when I was pregnant with my daughter, who's 8, and the show just ended last year. So over 6 years.
Wow. So yeah. I mean, I find that that radio station to be so soothing.
Yes, it is, and it's fun because it's an iconic station. I mean, we have so many generations. Like, when I was a kid growing up here in LA, I listened to love songs. I had like my tape recorder boombox, taping love songs at night and giving it to my boyfriend in the morning,
Totally.
You know, and then here I am. There's 2 generations between then and now. And I was on the air here. So I think it's like everybody knows KOST.
Totally. I mean, I grew up in Massachusetts, but I found myself doing the same things. I used to like record the radio, and I played DJ of when you like pause the tape recorder and start it again, and trying to like mix the 2 songs. And
Oh my gosh, we're so old.
So was that like, I mean, growing up in LA, was that kind of like, wow, I'm joining such an iconic part of my upbringing?
Definitely. It really was, because I started in San Diego. As broadcasters, you know, a lot of times we have to move to smaller markets. I got lucky enough that my smaller market happened to be, you know, on the beach in San Diego, which was
For you.
Yeah, really, right? Like, wah, wah. And it's the 20th market, so it's still pretty big. But when I started there, I actually just wanted to get on the air. I didn't care how or in what capacity, but ironically, their Love Songs lady, for real, at the soft rock station in San Diego, retired. And that was my first show that I ever got. So I literally was in San Diego saying, hi, this is Kristin Cruz. What's your love thought today? I literally said that for a living.
And the best part is that people answered what their love thought was for the day.
And everyone did it in that same voice.
Oh, they answered everything. I was truth serum on air. It was a show, you know, and that was interesting too, because the listeners you get when you are on the air playing love songs until midnight can go to some pretty interesting places.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine, Kim, if us a couple glasses of wine in at night? And
I did that. I remember, not with a couple glasses of wine when I was younger, but I remember calling in and like trying to get on the radio and like do my dedication.
Your long distance dedication with Casey
totally.
Kasem.
Yeah, totally. But I can remember hearing people call and say, "Hi, I'm just calling to tell Bobby that I love him, and we've had such a rough week, and I'm so sorry for all the pain I've caused.
I'm sorry for sleeping with your brother.
Yeah. And then, Kristin would say, and in honor of Bobby and Jennifer's rekindled love, we're going to play Endless Love by Lionel Richie.
Reunited by Peaches and her.
Yeah. And I always go like, wait, did they ask for that song, or did you just know that up? I just it always seems so seamless. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kristin. We totally went off on our own little tangent.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. We have Kristin Cruz on the show today. It's not just about Jackie and Kim.
I could a whole book about it, you guys. It was awesome. It was very fun. It was interesting. I mean, from everything, I wanted to be like a Dr. Laura on some of those calls and be like, "What are you thinking?" And I got letters from prisons, from people who are in prison. I mean, it was a whole experience. But it definitely prepared me to come to LA and be on a morning radio show and deal with pretty much anything at that point.
Right.
Yeah. So and coming on KOST, to answer your question, I'm so sorry.
We had a question in there. I already forgot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a total honor to work on a radio station that's such a flagship station where I grew up. That station that you listened to when you were little. Yeah. It was like a little bit weird and surreal. And just really cool. Yeah. It was a great thing.
That's awesome. And so, about a year ago, you moved on from there.
I did. You know what? I moved on and moved home, basically. I have 2 kids now, and people that listened to KOST through the whole thing literally listened to me being pregnant with Izzy, which I got hired on the air on a morning show when I was pregnant, 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really, well, through the auditioning process and driving up and down from San Diego, I was doing the full-on wearing Spanx and trying to hide the early stages of my pregnancy because I was afraid I wouldn't get hired as a pregnant woman in the entertainment industry, which is an absolutely legit concern.
On radio even?
Heck yeah. I mean, everything's a visual medium now in some way, shape, or form. I mean, even you have a podcast or a radio show, you go to Twitter, I see your pictures. I see you. You know what I mean?
Yes, and Kim won't let me do radio, so that's where it sits.
Well, everything's visual. Everything's on camera. And we had a full green screen and production company at Clear Channel. We shot quite often. So, and not only like seeing each other, but the fact that, when a woman is pregnant, and I'm sure women listening some women can relate to this. And this is why I started Moms in Media. One of the reasons is when you're pregnant or you're just getting married at a job and your employer feels like, the next step must be being away with a baby. Mm-hmm. As a woman, I took pause and concern that I wouldn't be considered a hard enough worker or I wasn't going to be as available. So they weren't going to give me the job if they knew I was pregnant. That's how I felt.
Right. And like you said, it's very legitimate. I mean, I've worked in entertainment for over 20 years and I've seen some things.
I've seen some things.
Oh, yeah.
So when that ended, did you feel like what was next? Like, did you have a clear vision or what were your plans?
It's interesting because I kind of went backwards and I'm a firm believer in especially in entertainment. Sometimes, and any creative outlet that you make your career, sometimes you have to take a few steps backwards to take big leaps forward. And it's scary and it's weird, but it happens. And so I've learned, and I've been in the entertainment industry for a really long time as either producing videos, producing movies, radio, on all levels. And I knew that change may feel like you're stepping back, but it's going to move you forward. And in this case, what it did for me was moved me forward to home. I literally, my show ended about a week before Mother's Day. And it was almost like a sign. I came home and introduced myself to my children. Hello, I'm your mommy. What I decided was, for me, I achieved my goal. I mean, I was on morning radio 5 hours live every day for 6 years in Los Angeles, #1 radio market in the country. Money-wise, #2 listenership behind New York. That's great. I did it. I feel good about that. And I had my name on a show. As a woman in this radio industry, having your name on a show is a rare thing. So I felt great about that. And I thought, I need to take time for me to step back before I do my step forwards, and not miss any more Halloweens with my kids because I'm in Nashville interviewing, whoever, Kelly Clarkson, about her new album for a radio show. Or I'm not going to miss any Christmases. I'm not, because I'm doing overnights. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? I made the decision for me that I wanted to be home with my kids for a while for all that stuff that I missed.
Right. So go back for a second. So, because I think that if one would think, on the radio 5 hours a day, like, wow, she works 5 hours a day and then she's home with her kids. And so, wow, what a great balance that she has. So I think it's fascinating and really important for you to talk about that. Like, it never even occurred to me that you would miss Christmas or Halloween unless your shift was, the evening, but I think that's really important. People just kind of see things for how they want to see them.
You're so right on about that. This industry, for me, I do believe that our jobs are lifestyle choices. They're not just jobs, especially now with technology. A lot of times, like in my case in radio, you're contractually obligated to exist on social media, to post a certain amount of times a day, to blog, to produce video, to be every Friday night for 12 weeks a year, I was interviewing the latest cast off from American Idol. Mm-hmm. As soon as Ryan would finish with them, we had Kiss FM and all the way down to KOST across the board in Clear Channel. As soon as Ryan was done with them, I would interview them every Friday night. So my day started at 4:30 a.m. Friday morning, writing a script, doing a show for 5 hours, figuring out how to fill time between then and needing to be there whenever the American Idol cast off was done with Jay Leno or with, Seacrest or whomever they were talking to, and then come over to me. So my day would end at like Friday at 10 o'clock in the evening.
We should do that for Broadscast, Jackie. If I ever get a date, we should do like all of Kim's cast offs. And we'll just incorporate that into Broadscast, like at the end of my date. So
you heard it here first, folks. Yeah. No, that seriously, I see something in January happening. Kristin, you have to be involved with that. You can interview the cast offs.
All the cast offs. They won't know they're casted off until Kristin gets to interview them. So here's your new, your now John B, that you have been cast off from Kim's dating life. Yeah.
And then that way, if they see Kristin's face, they're like, uh-oh.
And I don't have to do it, because I have so many people knocking at my door and taking me out on dates that I have to choose. But anyway, moving on. Yeah.
So you knew you had to take a step back, as you say. Yeah. And so what was that first step?
Well, it's kind of, it's unplugging. It's taking a step back. It's the fight against the urge to do something. It's do nothing, which I know is really hard, especially for, I think, women like us who always need to be doing something. But it's a conscious choice to literally do nothing. I found my radio career by doing that. I left a very successful and lucrative producing career in Hollywood and literally went back to school to find my calling. So I found radio and I had much success. So you have to, for me, take that step back and do absolutely nothing. And it's seducing, this industry, or just the thought of making money and contributing to your family. I mean, There are so many things on so many levels, it just sucks you back in.
Yeah.
But my first step was really to take a moment and do nothing. And that was very difficult. So, and what I did do, not to mention that sometimes when you leave a show, you contractually can't do anything for a while.
Well, there's that.
It's funny.
But I think it's funny that you say do nothing, but you have 2 kids to raise, and that's a whole lot of something. But yeah.
You're so right. And I think that we lose perspective sometimes, especially when we get in this industry or we get into a career that takes us over like that. We forget, oh my God, we're raising human beings that are going to at one point, run companies that people work at and run families that raise more children, and just how important and incredibly powerful this job is as a mom. We need to honor that. So I started Moms in Media, which is a not-for-profit organization of women working in media industries to just support one another wherever we're at with our career in the entertainment industry or the media industry that you work in. Because being a mom and working in these industries is different. It's different than I ever thought it could be. And I think one of the most shocking realizations I had was that sometimes us women are each other's worst advocates. And I think that we're better than that, and that we need to pull together more and support each other more and help each other more and share more with each other in this industry. And I have a lot of great things happening. I mean, right now we grew organically. We literally grew from a Twitter handle. Like, I just wanted to procure the name Moms in Media. I just woke up one morning and went, oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden I had over 1,000 followers. And celebrities
clearly there's a need, there's an audience out there that's like, oh, I need you and you need me and we need each other. So just in case you're just joining us, you're listening to Broadscast with Kristin Cruz, who is an entrepreneur and former host at KOST FM.
Very good.
Yes, I've been working on that, right, Kim? Have you been working
absolutely.
on that? Yes. But, so if you're just joining us, you're Kim Goldman, Jackie McDougall, you know the drill.
Yeah. So, Kristin, we talk about this a lot in the show about how why women like bring each other down when we're actually supposed to build each other up. So do you have a thought or a feeling about why that happens and why you think that maybe your Moms in Media is so successful?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is for everyone, but I know I have felt the fear that we have to lose our footing that we've worked so hard for. I mean, it's still, I'm not playing the card, but especially in the entertainment industry, and I come from the music industry as well. I was a label executive and the film industry. These are traditionally male-dominated areas of entertainment. They just are. And we've heard women, actresses, producers, writers saying how much harder we feel we have to work to get to our positions. We've worked so freaking hard to get there that we're so afraid of someone overtaking us. And believe you me, there's a 23-year-old right behind you breathing down your neck who has no kids, no husband, no obligations, and can work until midnight and is ready for your job. So I think we're scared. I think that we don't feel a security in our jobs that we should be able to feel, and the support. I think that's why. And I think that if we banded together more, if we had more communication as women, if we had more of that camaraderie. I mean, I've read books and books and books and books about this stuff because I've been trying to figure it out myself. And one of the theories I read that I really liked, I'd love to hear what you ladies think about this, is that as kids, men are encouraged as boys to play on teams and to have that team spirit. And even if they're out on a field tackling each other, talking smack, yo mama jokes and whatever, they're on different teams. They want to take each other out. But once they're off the field, they're bros. They're going out for beers. Mm-hmm. They got each other's backs. Girls, I feel like we don't go through that same training, if you will, for being in the office place and having that kind of same camaraderie. And my husband's a firefighter. And I can tell you, no matter how the guys feel about each other in the station, when they get out on a fire, they are 110%. You know that the guy standing next to you has your back, no matter what.
Right.
And I feel like that's lacking for women in the workplace entertainment. Have you found that could be true? I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know if I mean, that's an interesting theory. I honestly, I don't know how I was taught in terms of like being on a team. I mean, I always felt like I was so, growing up being on softball and soccer and volleyball, I feel like I was really connected to my friends on the team and that I always supported them. I just think that there are fewer positions. As you said, this is a male dominated industry. And I think there are fewer positions that are designated for women. And so we have to carve out our own space. But I just think that women are we're catty. I mean, I think I do. I've always felt that way. I mean, I really tried to encourage and support women, but if I'm competing for the same job, I don't know how supportive and encouraging I'm going to be to my competitor. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really been in that position. But I don't know. I feel like if you earned your spot and you're a respectful, kind human being, I'm going to be your biggest champion. If you're a D-bag or something else, and I'm not. Like, I don't know. Right. I just think it's about your characters more than I believe it's about your boobs.
But I think I think it's less about the other person. I think 100% we bring down other people when we are not comfortable with our own choices and where we are ourselves.
Right.
So if I'm like doing my thing in the entertainment industry and I meet somebody else, like I'm all about mentoring. I'm working with somebody now. I'm like, if you want to be a producer, I can help you become a producer in a year. Like it's going to be really hard. There's going to be a lot of lessons here. But I think that when somebody is insecure, so Kim, if you're going up against that other person, if you feel like I am most qualified, as qualified as I possibly can be, I give 100%, I know that I deserve this, and you feel good about it, you don't necessarily need to bring that other person down.
But I think it's also because I'm at a very comfortable stage in my life, like age-wise and like in my maturity, that I don't care anymore. I mean,
I'm way too old to fight with
that's what I'm saying.
women.
I'm too old. Like, and I also feel I'm very comfortable in my skin. I'm confident in my choices. I'm confident in the things I say. I mean what I say. I do what I mean. Like,
right.
So I don't have that in me anymore. Right. I don't think. And but again, I stand behind the women that are in my circle and for other women that are doing great things, because I think that we do work hard. I think our work ethic I was raised in a home where work ethic was so highly regarded that I don't know how else to do things other than to put 100% in, but and then I think I'm going to hopefully get 100% out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's especially, but I really love what women are doing in broadcasting, like what you're doing with this podcast, women that you've had on the show. We're talking about this stuff. The conversation is out there, and that's, bringing us together as women. That's, I think, one of the best things, because we like to talk, and sometimes, maybe some people at home aren't listening as much as they should. We're trying to get our husbands here, whatever. We need girl time. And I think this helps. I think this promotes that kind of community that Moms in Media is trying to make happen as well.
And I love that you're doing that. And let me ask you this though. Do you think, because I have 3 kids and a husband, and I sometimes
that means 4 kids.
Sometimes. So I sometimes feel like I'm spinning my wheels and, trying to be all things to all people. And, but then I get a call about a job, or a gig or whatever. And they're like, hey, we would like you to do this. And you travel here and you do this and you produce this, or, sometimes it's the validation that I am a person with actual valuable skills and experience. And as much as I 100%, if you held a gun to my head and you said you either have to work full time for the rest of your life or be home with your kids, I would choose to be home with my kids. Like that's, but I do love to work, and I do love that feeling I get when people validate that I'm good at what I do. And I think sometimes people, it's kind of like a drug, and then people try to go for that and go for that. And so they'll push other people down just so they can get that feeling.
And push their own true selves down sometimes.
Yes. Your ego totally trumps where you are in your heart.
Right. That's a tough one. That's exactly what I was talking about, when it pulls you back in. I know. And I'm the same way right now. I mean, I've done the same things. There are jobs that have said, okay, well, we've got a job for you. You just need to fly to New York every week, but you'll be home on the weekends.
Nope, not going to work. Yeah. And it's really hard because you want to kind of yell out the window of your car, like, I was on the radio, just to let people know, like, you do have this thing and you have this talent, and you have this gift, and people have acknowledged it. And it's very confusing and very, for me anyway, I can only speak for myself. It tears me a little bit. I have to remind myself what my 100%, priority and goal is. Every time something like this comes up.
But I feel like for me, like my 100% priority and goal is to be a mom to my kid. But being a mom to my kid means all these other things too, because it shows him an incredible work ethic, which I was raised with, work-life balance. It shows him how to be professional and be responsible and reliable and making sacrifices and balance. I mean, I do a lot for my job, and I'm now traveling a little bit more than I was before. And it is heartbreaking because my kid has to learn how to be patient in those things, but it also teaches him, to follow your dreams, do what you love, to how to manage and how to.
But you've also said no to a lot of things because it didn't work.
I have,
so
but that's
you
also,
have to weigh the opportunity versus the sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah. And so, Kristin, we only have a second left. So tell us where to find you.
All right, you guys, it's Moms in Media absolutely everywhere. So on Twitter, join the over 1,000 people. You'll see a lot of familiar names on there. Wonderful celebrity support we've gotten at Moms in Media. Online, momsinmedia.com. Please sign up. It's free right now in honor of Connect Her 2016. So we're really doing a kind of like a drive to get more women involved. So I hope I will see both of you on the sign-up roster as well for momsandmedia.com.
Of course.
Okay. And we're also on Instagram, Moms and Media, sharing pictures and stories from everyday life. Moms working. Molly Sims just did something great that we promoted on there that she was doing for families on the West Side. So please check that out. And I'm at Kristin Cruz everywhere. And I really appreciate you guys giving me some time to talk today.
Absolutely.
Anytime,
We'll have to have you back on. You're so much fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Kristin.
Okay, bye. So that's it. We've got about 20 seconds. So thanks so much. That was like the fastest show in the history of time.
It was.
Thanks so much to Kristin for being on the show. And I wanted to wish your son a very, very amazing, wonderful, lots of good luck tomorrow.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. That's what
Thank
we're supposed to say.
you. Thank
All right,
you
guys.
very
We'll talk
much.
to you next time.
You are listening to Broadscast. For more from the Broads, head to broadscast.com.